you so much for joining us this evening. I'm going to be working on getting the live stream up. So if I look a little distracted, that's why. I'm really glad that you're here. And here we are once again, and it is Friday night, and this is Doctor's Orders. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. And we're going to start the presentation now. So, I have a question for you. How many of you would like to have more energy? If you like, you can raise your hand. And if you're in our replay audience, you can just type me too. How many of you would like to have a kind of seat belt to reduce your risk of having high blood sugar? How many of you, I see some of those hands, how many of you would like to have a seatbelt that protects you against neuropathy, that burning and tingling, that loss of sensation in your fingers and your toes, or some of the signs and symptoms of diabetes, frequency of urination, high thirst, frequency of bowel movements? How many of you would like to be protected from the fear of kidney failure, kidney disease, dialysis, vision loss, and even Alzheimer's? Well, if that's you and you raised your hand, thank you for those hands. I want to welcome you to Doctor's Orders because you're in the right place. My name is Coach Carla Joy, and you may have heard my story before, but there might be someone listening who hasn't. So do I have your permission to tell my story, just a brief version of my story? Say yes. Okay, thank you. So um, I was in a cold exam room waiting for my doctor to come in and give me the results of my annual exam. You know, even medical professionals have to have some gauge of their health. So I'm sitting there. Have you noticed how cold those rooms can be? And I'm waiting, and here she comes, and she says, "Young lady, you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and prediabetes." It was as if the whole world kind of slowed down and crept to a halt. I was so scared. I was in shock. Have you ever been in shock? Have you ever received a serious diagnosis or experienced the shock of hearing a diagnosis of someone that you love? Those feelings of fear, frustration, maybe even anger and numbness, or failure, thinking that you, like me, you'd done everything you could, and yet here you were, and they had evidence that you had become a statistic. How do you find answers outside of everything that you've been taught? You know, I was in medical training. And so that's my world. I had built my world, my future, my career around the medical system. Now, don't get me wrong. Our emergency care is second to none. If I get hit by a bus, I want to be in an American hospital. But how do you find information about how to treat or reverse metabolic disease? Those were the things that I was learning. And yet, all that information had not kept me from getting the same diagnosis that I was being trained to manage. How do you turn your future around? How many of you would feel hopeful and yet skeptical if someone that you love and you trust completely offers you a solution? That happens a lot. You know, on the internet, somebody comes up with, why don't you eat this? Or why don't you take that? Or have this root? Or drink this tea? What if it was possible to slow or even reverse diabetes type 2 with lifestyle change? You know, what we've been taught is that by the media, by ads, by even by medical professionals, as you age, you will gain weight. Have you heard that? Anybody else heard that? Cardiometabolic diseases are due to aging. Who's heard that? Or it's normal to develop these chronic degenerative diseases and to have more and more and more medications. And have you also heard diabetes is a chronic disease? You will never be able to overcome it. That's what we heard. That's what we've been told. And if you listen to them, you're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. But here's what the experts say. I have this here. User error. Oh no, it went away. I had a list of all the comments by some of the experts. So experts like Dean Ornish, who explained that diabetes, type 2 diabetes, does not have to exist. Like Michael Greger, Dr. Michael Greger, or Dr. Neil Barnard, who wrote the book Reversing Diabetes, or by experts like Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who said that heart disease and diabetes do not even have to exist. So, what I'm sharing with you today is not my idea, it's what the research shows. And I get to say that the research shows that eating mostly plants protects against diabetes, it reduces the risks. Or you can simply say what we say here every Friday: eat more fruits and vegetables. You see, you can be sick and tired, or you can be fit and healthy. The people who are sick and tired believe that getting healthy is expensive, it's hard, and it's time consuming. But you can get fit and healthy if you believe that buying, prepping, and eating whole foods is an investment in your health, in your future, in your family, and it's worth the time and effort. If you're sick and tired, you probably believe that eating more than 10% of meat, eggs, dairy, fats leads to health. Or you can get fit and healthy by knowing that more plants means more fiber. That's going to improve your gut, your immune health, your mental health, and other aspects of your physical health. You could believe that complex carbs like rice and grains and potatoes are bad. Or you can follow the science that leads to let you know that if you're eating less than 10% of your calories from meat, eggs, dairy, fat, will improve your health. And we have examples of the blue zones and cardiac studies and diabetes studies. You might believe that plants are insufficient sources of proteins and minerals and that they make you weak. Or you can follow the research, the evidence, and the population studies that show that you are what you eat. Like looking at the documentary You Are What You Eat and another documentary, Game Changers. But you know, those who are sick and tired are already sick and tired with the beliefs that they have. Why would you want to do more of what kept you sick and tired? Why wouldn't you want to do what could make you fit and healthy? What do you prefer? Sick and tired or fit and healthy? Write in the chat. Do you want to be sick and tired or fit and healthy? What do you want? And while you're writing that, I'd like to pause and ask the question: Well, what is diabetes anyway? I'm glad you asked. Diabetes is a dysregulation of how your body handles glucose. Now, we've heard that sugar is bad, but the reality is that sugar, glucose, is the metabolic food for your cells. It's what your cells use to convert, to do the energy work inside the cells and to convert to chemical energy called ATP that it can export to different parts of the body for all the other cells to use. But there are two types of diabetes. In diabetes type 1, you have a situation where an organ called the pancreas is not able to produce insulin. Insulin is a hormone. Think of it as like a key. What do you use keys for? You use keys to unlock doors so that you can go in and out. Well, insulin can be thought of as a key. It unlocks the cell so that the cells can absorb glucose, sugar, so that they can do their metabolism and create their energy molecule ATP. But in a person with type 1 diabetes, which is believed to be an autoimmune disease, the pancreas cells that produce insulin have been attacked by the body's own immune cells, and they are no longer able to produce enough insulin or any insulin at all. This is very different from type 2 diabetes, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. What's the treatment for type 1 diabetes? The cause of type 1 diabetes, as I said, it's an autoimmune disease, and the chemical situation, the biochemistry of it is that the body is not producing an essential hormone, insulin. And so, early in the last century, insulin was discovered, and insulin, what we call exogenous insulin, insulin from outside the body, is given to the patient, and their body, their cells are able to absorb sugar and function. So the treatment for type 1 diabetes is to provide insulin to the body. At this time, we do not have a way to regenerate those pancreatic cells. It may be in the future with all the changes in science that we've been seeing. But at this point, the only treatment for type 1 diabetes is to provide external insulin. What about type 2 diabetes? I've heard of people who are on insulin too, but they are type 2 diabetics. I'm glad you asked. In type 2 diabetes, the pancreas, the organ that produces insulin, is functioning and producing insulin. The insulin goes to all the cells, it knocks on the door, but it doesn't work. Think of it like if someone had put gum in the lock. You'll have the right key, you'll have the lock, but the key doesn't work because the works are gummed up. The lock is gummed up. And it's something like that that happens with type 2 diabetes. You see, the insulin is there, the cell is there, but lining on the inside of the cell is intramyocellular fat, excess fat, and that prevents the insulin from working. So even though in a type 1 diabetic and a type 2 diabetic, one of the similarities is that the blood sugar keeps getting higher and the hemoglobin A1C keeps getting higher, they're from two entirely different causes. You may have heard of insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is found in type 2 diabetes, and it's because of the fat inside the muscle cells that's preventing the insulin from working as an effective key to let the sugar into the cells. Currently, the treatment for type 2 diabetes involves trying to make the pancreas produce more insulin. Well, it helps a little. Or trying to make the cells respond to the insulin. That helps a little. Or preventing the gut from absorbing as much sugar, or telling people don't eat sugar, but it doesn't help much. Or by trying to get the kidneys to get rid of more sugar. But that's not the cause. The cause is the fat lining the cells. So if we could have a diet that reduces the amount of fat in the muscle cells, then, based on the research, we should be able to reduce the risk, slow the progress of, and in many cases, reverse type 2 diabetes. And that's exactly what we've discovered. The research shows that eating a whole food, plant-based diet allows you to reduce the risk, slow the progress of, and even, as accounted in Dr. Barnard's book, Reversing Type 2 Diabetes, reverse it. So, what is whole food plant based eating? I'm glad you asked. Are you following me here? Whole food plant based eating is when 90% of your calories come from plants. Now, I don't usually count calories, but let's say that 90% of your calories come from plants, and that allows for 10% of your calories coming from animal products. And the research supports that if you eat that way, if you're eating fruit, vegetables, grains, peas and beans, and that's making up 90% of your calories, then this can help reduce the risk, slow the progress of, and in some cases, reverse type 2 diabetes. Also keep in mind that a whole food plant-based eating plan includes, is going to be high in fiber because of all those plants that you're eating. It's going to be low in fat because you're not going to add any added oils. And there are going to be no dairy products because all dairy products are high in fat. And water is going to be your main drink. Remember the work of Dr. Neil Barnard, Joel Furman, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Dean Ornish. These are all people that you can refer to help you get more information about why whole food plant-based eating can be helpful in reversing type 2 diabetes. But you might be saying, my life is so busy, I don't even know where to begin. Or I don't know, and where I work or where I live, you know, it's almost as though they're conspiring against my desire to eat healthy. You walk into the break room and all you can smell is donuts, Twinkies, and sugary snacks. In fact, sugary drinks is all they have to drink. It's hard to even come by water. Or maybe you're saying, my family's not on board. Even if I wanted to do this, I'd have to make 2 sets of meals. Or you may say, I don't even know how to get started. Well, I get it. I was there too. I didn't even know how to get started. When my goddaughter introduced me to the documentary Forks Over Knives and to the work of Dr. Michael Greger, Uprooting the Cause of Disease, it gave me hope, but I didn't know quite where to get started. If there was a way that you could jumpstart your own healthy living journey to move from being sick and tired to being fit and healthy, would you like to know about it later or now? Type in the chat. You want to know later or you want to know now? If you want to know now, I already know this information. So if you want to know now, either raise your hand or type in the chat. Okay. Well, I would like to invite you to join our community. You see, here at Doctor's Orders, we are part of the Juice Plus community. And our motto is our mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. It's not too late to join one of our Facebook groups where you can get information about how to jumpstart your health, how to get started on your healthy living journey. The person who invited you to this session can invite you to one of our Facebook groups where you can find recipes, you can ask questions, and you can be part of a community. You know, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine lists being part of a community as one of their 6 pillars of health. So we're inviting you to that community. The other thing that we'd like to invite you to is to get familiar with our Juice Plus products. You've heard that we're part of the Juice Plus community, and I'd like to introduce you to some of the products. We have concentrated fruits and vegetables in capsules. I know, what a novel idea. I told someone about that yesterday, and she said, I never heard of such a thing. How amazing. Well, these fruits and vegetables, these 30 fruits and vegetables have been grown in pristine conditions, usually by farmers that we know. They will be multi-generational farmers, and they're grown until the peak of ripeness so that they have the highest degree of nutrients. And then they're picked, and as soon as possible, they're flash frozen to lock in all of those nutrients and put in powders and placed in capsules. Now, that is so important because one of the things that we can do to jumpstart is to just flood our bodies with more fruits and vegetables. These fruits and vegetables are the highest quality. We have a third party coming in and batch testing them to show that there are no pesticides or herbicides in the fruits and vegetables. They're also kosher and they're grown non-GMO. So you have access to those. We also have access to an omega blend. Many people, because they understand that most degenerative diseases are associated with inflammation, want to improve their omega profile. And so we're supporting that decision by bypassing the fish, because fish don't make omegas. They actually get them from the algae that they eat. But fish also eat other fish and other compounds that are in the water where they live. So they have contaminants. So by bypassing the fish, we bypass all of those contaminants and we go to things like the algae, the pomegranate seed, raspberry seeds, to name a few. And we have the omegas the way they occur in nature. So not just omega-3, but omega-3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. The way they occur in nature, and you have an omega blend. We like to call that the quad for people who are just getting started with us. But there's more. We have a complete shake. You know, many people are trying to improve their protein profile. The problem is that many people use animal protein to do that. And animal proteins are high in inflammatory amino acids. Now, a little bit is fine, but a lot can be harmful and create more inflammation. So these protein powders are plant-based and they also contain vegetables, which means you have protein and fiber, chocolate and vanilla. You have quinoa, amaranth, um, rice bran, broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, just to name a few. So it's protein, it's fiber, it's vegetables, and it's quick and easy. And because of the fiber, it protects your glycemic index. Because of the fiber, you don't get those sugar highs and crashes when you take the complete shake. In addition, we have Luminate. Have you ever wondered if you could just get a little more energy, but to get that energy, you don't want to be jittery? Well, the Luminate provides energy and focus and calm. It contains things like Alpinia galanga, lion's mane, cordyceps, sage, and coffee berries. Ask the person who invited you. This is one way that you can get energy, a boost of energy without any jittery feeling, and you also get calm focus. Now, I told you about the fruits, vegetables, and berries that are in our quad 4. Now we have access to the fruits, vegetables, and berries without the capsule. You can just pour them into water and shake, and it makes a wonderful, refreshing drink. And it's 30 fruits and vegetables. As one person said, you would spend a fortune trying to get all of these fruits and vegetables from the market. And here you can get them in a powdered form and add them to your to water. And finally, we have the super biome. Now, many people suffer from digestive issues. But apart from that, many of us have been exposed to antibiotics. And because of that, our gut microbiome doesn't have the rich diversity that it should have. And so we have brought you the Superbiome Probiotic. It contains lactobacillus, bifidobacillus, several different strains that have been researched to be effective. And there's ongoing research that we hope to hear about later on this year. It's in a delayed release capsule. And so you don't have to have as many colony forming units because the delayed release capsule will allow it to pass safely through the acidity of the stomach and reach the rest of the gut. But to support the bacteria, we also have fiber, 5 different types of fiber that will support the colony. Because if you add the bacteria, but they don't have the food that they need, then they probably would not be sustained. So the superbiome contains the probiotic, the prebiotic, the food for the bacteria, and that results in the production of the postbiotic. You may have heard of butyrate and other of those substances that the bacteria produce to protect us and enhance our nutrition. So, if you join our community, you get access to our free private Facebook group where you can get recipes, you can get asked questions, you can be with like-minded health professionals as well as health-minded people, and you can get exposure to our product line for nutrition that can help you jumpstart your nutrition. You can also get access to a free coaching series, 5 sessions free with me, where we can help you set your nutrition goals, set your health goals, and start building a plan and provide support and accountability so that you can not just have the knowledge, because most people know what to do, but you can actually begin to produce that momentum so that you can reach your health goals. So you'll get access to our community where you'll have recipes and answer your questions and be able to interact with people who are also health conscious. You'll get access to our products where you can jumpstart your healthy living journey, even if your life is very busy and you don't have time and you're not even sure how to jumpstart your journey. You get access to the coaching, the Healthy U-Turn with Coach Carla Joy, me. And finally, you get to go with us on trips. You get invited to our upcoming immersion experiences, the Paget Boot Camp in Waynesboro, Georgia, and the Phoenix, Arizona Juice Plus Live event. And the pageants may be coming to a city near to you. So if you are interested in jumpstarting your health, speak to the person that invited you here tonight or invited you to this video so that you can discuss how you can become part of the community, how you can get access to your first order of your Juice Plus products, how you can sign up for free 5 sessions with Coach Carla Joy to help get your health jumps U-turn, and how you can come join with us for our health immersion events. Now, this is the time where you get to decide: are you going to be sick and tired and continue to be sick and tired, or are you going to be fit and healthy? Sick and tired or fit and healthy? Type in the chat, sick and tired or fit and healthy. I know I want to be fit and healthy, so I want you to say it with me. Fit and healthy.
Fit
Fit
and
and,
healthy.
that's right, fit and healthy. And to do that, we say simply what we say every Friday night. I'd like my friends to unmute themselves and say the simple version of what it takes to get fit and healthy.
Eat more fruits and vegetables.
Yay! That's right. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Jumpstart your healthy vision. Visit us to become part of our community, to get access to the Juice Plus products, to get access to free supportive coaching, and to go to these immersion events with us, or to have the pageants come to a location near to you. I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you soon. This is Coach Carla Joy and friends saying eat more fruits and vegetables, and see you here next time. Thanks so much for joining.